Hello everyone, thank you for joining us wherever you are. I'm Gulo from Jadi PNS, will be your host. Now we are with Samara Polwatta. She is a Global Landscapes Forum Ocean Restoration Stewards 2023 from Sri Lanka. Ayubowan, Samara, how are you?
Hi, Gulo. I'm really good. I hope you are also good.
Yes, thank you so much, Samara, for joining us, and we are really excited to have you here.
Yes, I'm excited to be here as well.
Could you please give us a little bit about your background on you, where you're from, and what got you into a lot of great works that you are doing right now?
Yes, so I'm Samara. I'm from Sri Lanka, and I'm from Colombo as well.
Mhm.
Right now, I work as a junior consultant for the UNDP in New York remotely, and I'm also currently writing my master's thesis. Once again, it's about looking at characteristics of coral reefs for disaster risk reduction, and my university is the United Nations University for Environmental Risks and Human Security, along with University of Bonn. And how I got into this is very, very thankful to one of the lecturers during my bachelor's at University of Sri Jayawardenepura in Sri Lanka. He was the person who said oceanography is like a really nice field, and it's an area where we don't have a lot of women in Sri Lanka are involved in. And he
Mhm.
said it's a great opportunity, if you can get into this. Um, because once again, it's an island country. We are surrounded by the ocean, and it's really nice to be intact with this resource around us. So how I slightly got into it. So later on, I got in touch with one of the organizations here called Earth Lanka, which is particularly looking at ocean conservation, SDG Goal 14, and life below water. So we did a lot of work with them around Sri Lanka. So I took my diving license, and yeah, so that's how my journey started with working with the ocean.
Thank you, Samara. That's interesting. And then we are wondering, what's the situation in Sri Lanka right now? And how does youth look like in Sri Lanka currently?
Right. So, as you know, Sri Lanka is in a tough position at the moment economically, but which means also that the government can't afford to spend a lot of funds on restoration purposes or conservation, and especially the ocean around us, which a lot of people are depending on. When it comes to youth, we are actually quite strong, and a lot of leadership can be seen within the youth of Sri Lanka, especially girls and women are coming into the field of oceanography. A lot of them are trying to understand how they can contribute to science and research and conservation. So this is a new trend that we can see from the past 2 years. So it's looking bright for the youth and their engagement in restoration and conservation, not only the oceans, but also the terrestrial ecosystems as well. Yeah.
All right. We hope the economy and the situation in Sri Lanka will be getting better, and everyone will enjoy the distribution of the economy in Sri Lanka. And
Yeah.
then this year, you were selected as Global Landscapes Forum Oceans Restoration Steward 2023. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's not just me, but I have to say it's the whole team. School Meets The Reef. But yeah, it's a
Congrats.
great honor.
Yeah. And then it means you are in the category of oceans. What happened to the oceans of Sri Lanka?
Right. So, being an island country, we are surrounded by several coral reefs and a lot of marine ecosystems, not only reefs like mangroves and all these different ecosystems. And they are quite threatened by several factors. We have around 103 rivers in countries which are flowing into the ocean. With it carries a lot of sediment and a lot of polluted materials which goes into the ocean, and they create a threat to the aquatic or the marine species. So that's one problem. And then, of course, the climate change, the global warming, and the impact of El Nino has caused some of the reefs to be like bleached as well. So they are threatened, and there were also several impacts from ships sinking around the ocean of Sri Lanka, releasing a lot of this plastic and chemical materials, which caused a lot of damage. And still the assessments are going on to calculate the amount of damage it caused. So there are a lot of factors, a lot of threats that the ocean is facing. If you take it as a system, it's very important to take care of whatever coming from the inland into the water, and the whole system must be, protected. So yeah, these are some of the problems that the ocean is facing around Sri Lanka.
And then since that, you think you wanted to fight for the oceans?
Definitely, because it's a very inherent part of our country. It's a traditional thing. It's a heritage for us. For example, some of the people are depending on it, like fishermen to people who are engaged in tourism activities. The blue economy in Sri Lanka is quite strong, and therefore it must be safeguarded for the future generations. And also another important factor, especially with coral reefs, is disaster risk reduction. The natural system itself has the capability to, attenuate wave energy. Like the 2004 tsunami, the devastation would have been less if the coral reefs in the down south, for example, were not mined back in the day in 1990s. So people learned a lot from it as well, from the tsunami. So these ecosystems must be safeguarded. Yeah.
All right. And then what did you do then after realizing those pressing coastal ecosystem problems?
The first thing I had to do was, because I come from a geography background and my major was not oceanography. First, I had to learn about it. So I engaged with one of the organizations in Sri Lanka called Blue Resources Trust. From there only, I gained my initial knowledge about what's underwater, what are the different ecosystems that we have, how to do survey, how to understand the health of a reef. So especially, I'm looking at coral reefs. So there are many ecosystems when it comes to the ocean and the connected ecosystems, but my involvement is mainly with corals. So first I had to learn about it, research about it. And during my bachelor's time, one of the main things I involved was creating this first high resolution map of coral reef habitat in Sri Lanka. That was very important for management purposes, because that was created. There was later named as a marine protected area. So step by step, then with Earth Lanka, what I did also was a lot of reef rehabilitation projects, of which the School Meets Reef is the most recent one that I am involved in. Yeah. So yeah, mostly looking at how we can bring the reef back to its normal status step by step, like using coral nurseries or replantation methods. Yeah.
Interesting. And then you mentioned about School Meets the Reef.
Yes.
What is it? And can you please tell us how important School Meets the Reef is when talking about climate action?
Yes, so the School Meets the Reef concept, or this whole team, began last year as a part of the Wageningen University Nature-Based Solutions Challenge. So five of us, we entered this competition, like a challenge where 8 teams were selected, and we were asked to do a nature-based solution. And so hence myself and my team members, we spoke to each other and we thought safeguarding coral reef, also the school part, bringing in ocean literacy. If we, manage to combine these two things together, we can, improve rehabilitation of coral reefs and also improve the knowledge of the young generation, because most of the students or the small kids living near the ocean, they have no idea like what the resources that we have, like, that's around them. Some of them have never seen a coral reef. So this ocean literacy concept was, very important. So we started with, putting these reef structures underwater, and replanting it with corals that have been fragmented or broken down because of boat anchoring, fin breakage, different reasons. And we attach them into these reef balls. So this was done last July, and till now there have been like 4 monitoring sessions, and we are very happy to say that these polyps are actually growing. So our technique is working. So we are planning to extend it in the second phase. And talking about the school part of it, the ocean literacy, we went ahead. We did at this moment we did 2 sessions with students from the vicinity of our site. We taught them about different coastal ecosystems, not only corals, but others that are interconnected. And also we talked about how we can do conservation. And there were some interactive sessions as well, one of which was introducing about scuba diving as a conservation technique. So it was very interesting to them, and they were like, wow, we have no idea that this is around us. And we want to take it over and bring it to other schools around the island as well, because it's not something that's taught in the school syllabus. Unless you do, if you do like science, like biology or geography in the long run, the students don't get to learn this. So it's very important that they understand it. And we are also hoping that we can include it in the syllabus in the long run, but of course, it will take some time. It's not very easy with the government, but yeah, that's our hope. So yeah, this is what School Meets the Reef is in a nutshell. Yeah.
Interesting. And what a great work that you and your team have been doing, Samara.
Thanks.
And yeah, how is this issue of the coastal ecosystem and with the School Meets the Reef that you have been doing still a barrier today in Sri Lanka?
So what we understood from the projects that we have done, like the one in Kalkuda, that is our recent site, is that people, like especially the community, and also like fishermen, they have no idea about the importance of it and how they have to safeguard it. They would go ahead and fish whatever that they can find till there is the last fish left, because they think, still the resource is there. But when we did the project, they came to kind of observe what's happening. And they understood, okay, there's something underneath, we need to safeguard it, because if the coral reef is healthy, then only the fish resource is increasing. So they have to understand this kind of the connection between these two. So it is still like a barrier, because especially like for older generations who have been there for a long time, it's a bit difficult to educate them about it. But that's why we wanted to start from kids, because then they would go home and tell their parents, okay, this is what we learned today. Maybe we have to take care of it. Dad, when you go to the, fish, you have to be careful when you do anchoring. Do not go over the reef, these kinds of small things. So yeah, it is still a barrier about teaching them about coastal ecosystems, definitely. But hopefully in 5 or 6 years, people will be more aware. So interesting story. I'm also doing my research around coral reefs. And yesterday I went to the down south. This was the area where people mined hectares and acres of corals to create limestone. Yeah, it's really sad. So they used to, break this and kind of create limestone. And also some of the corals were used as blocks to build houses. They did not stop this if the tsunami didn't come, because they didn't understand the importance of it at all. But now when I ask them, are you guys happy or unhappy about the stop of this industry, they are like, we are really happy that we stopped it, because now we understand the problem. If we did not break this reef, not many people would have died, or not many devastation would have happened if the reef was there. So yeah, lessons come in harsh ways, but that should not be the case, that people should be educated about it before it's being destroyed. So yeah.
Yeah, so many lessons learned that you get, and the people get educated from what they have been doing. That's amazing, Samara.
Yeah, I hope. I mean, they are saying now that they're happy that it's the whole industry is gone. But yeah, it's a very sad story.
Yeah,
of what happened to the reef. Yeah.
yeah, that's so bad. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
how young people can restore the ocean and also the earth.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Samara, what do you get as a Global Landscape Forum Oceans Restoration Steward 2023? And how this GLF help you with School Meets the Reef?
Right. So this platform is very important because it helps us, because coral growth is not like a 1 or 2 day process. It
Mhm.
takes a long time. So we need to do monitoring, evaluation during the off season and during the season. And not like right now we have 4 reef balls, but it should be expanded. So in this case, the GLF is very important because they provide us with the resources. Not only that, it's a platform which gives us mentorship as well. Like they are going to teach us about other techniques that we can, introduce into the system. So that's about the rehabilitation part. And then when you talk about the education side, they also have many linkages with other organizations who are doing similar things. So this huge network is built through the GLF. So that's really a big platform for us. So yeah, like right now, once we had this post going on in LinkedIn, several organizations actually have reached us. Reached us asking like, how can we cooperate? Like, especially organizations in Sri Lanka, like private organizations. So that's very nice and very important because it creates sustainability in the long run, because it's not something that you can, stop within 5 or 6 months. It should be carried forward and passed on to the next generations as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, interesting. And then what will you do next with their support and make School Meets the Reef sustainable?
Yeah. So we are going to move on to the second phase, which is expansion of the reef system. So earlier we wanted to restore the corals that have been broken, but now we also think that it's important to integrate a little bit of to make the coral reef like a barrier for disasters as well. So restoration and these two things together. So we want to expand it further with the resources that we are getting. And secondly, for the school program, we want to make sure that we do some teacher training programs as well, because once the students leave the school, the teachers are the ones who are staying still in the school, and they can teach it to the next generation. So it will be more sustainable as well. So yeah, these are some of the things that we want to do, and continuous monitoring as well, because you have to go almost every month, make sure not any sedimentation or algae is on top of the reef, because it can smother the growth. And also we are right now planting only one type of species in the vicinity, which is called Acropora, which is a fast growing coral. We want to now try this other variation called varieties, which is quite strong once it's growth, but it takes a long time. So we want to take that into action as well. Yeah, plant that and see how it because that planting varieties would be much more better for the system, for shoreline protection and also for long-term rehabilitation as well. So
Oh, that's interesting. And then, Sarah, how do you get buy-in from people? We often talk about climate action, but we don't always get buy-in or support from everyone.
yeah, that's true. So I have to say that when we were engaging this project, we wouldn't have been able to do it without the support of the community, because last July was like a very bad time for Sri Lanka. We didn't have fuel. We didn't have like many resources. Even some of these nurseries that we created, it was very hard to do. But the people from the community helped us. We used this traditional technique that we have. We call it the orua, which does not need any fuel or anything. So all the reef balls were packed into this. The fishermen came and helped us to, find a good location as well. Their perspective was also taken. And then they were given the responsibility as well, because There can be instances where people can do like looting, or like tourists can go and step on these reef balls and create damage. But the fishermen, kind of the people in the community, took the responsibility to take care of these reef balls during the time that, because we can't always be there, because the site is about 300 kilometers away from Colombo, like where I am. So, and during that time, I was also not in Sri Lanka, so it's very hard to maintain it. Therefore, we had to take give the responsibility to the people. And every time now we go there, they are coming and talking to us. And also not only the community, then we have to also talk about the academic sector as well. A lot of universities were involved in the process, because it's also something new for them, because although we have oceanographic teaching universities here, not many projects like this are run. So their involvement was also very important. So a lot of stakeholders were there for us to make this a successful project so far. So, yeah.
Wow. And then in your own perspective, how can young people restore the coastal ecosystem?
People themselves, they have to, first of all, understand the importance of these things. Like, they have to understand the connection of it being a healthy system and also taking the resources out of it. So small things, like one of the biggest issues that we have is plastic pollution. So the community should be warned about, safeguarding, like using less plastics and making sure that it's not like thrown into the ocean. Another issue is like a lot of the use of fertilizers that goes in from the rivers, and when the rivers go in and dump into the ocean, a lot of eutrophication can cause algal bloom. So it's a connected system. So it's not only like we can't just blame the people who are in the coastal belt. I think as a whole, as a whole island, we have to kind of change our mindsets or the way that we are behaving at the moment, because it's a connected system. So yeah, from small age, I think at least from now on, if we can educate the young generations about it, maybe in another 20, 30 years, it will be better, hopefully. Yeah.
Samara, you're intensely working with coral reefs. You have been truly falling in love with coral reefs.
Definitely, I have. So last November, I went to Egypt and I had the greatest opportunity to see another great reef. So yeah, coral reefs will be with me for a long time. And even my research I'm doing about the characteristics of reefs and how we can use for ecosystem-based disaster risk reduction, and how we can apply it for hybridization infrastructure, coastal protection in Sri Lanka. So yeah, definitely falling in that. Yeah.
Wow. And then what does coral reefs mean for you?
Coral reefs definitely, I mean, I went to this path like like a surprise event, or like without any thinking about it. But now I see, like, I always can question myself, like, what will happen if all the reefs in the world are gone? So this is a big a big scare for me, to be honest. Like, what if all these are gone, and what if we don't do anything to restore it, or at least take care of things that we have? So it means a lot to me, and especially if we start restoring the corals around like small islands like Sri Lanka, and if we can bring these techniques to the other places, or take the techniques that the other countries are doing to Sri Lanka, it would be a great deal, and it will slowly help the corals to grow and restore the balance that it creates, to because it's an interconnected system. This is the place where the small juvenile fish grows, and then they go into the deep sea. Then we have the mangrove system, which filters the sediment. before it goes into the coral. So all these ecosystems are related. And if one system dies out, it's going to be a problem because every different species that we see in the corals have been evolved to become that way because they serve a great purpose. And yeah, so it means a great deal to me. And it's a big scare if everything dies out, because that means we are cutting down a big part of the whole biome itself. So
Wow, yeah, thank you for sharing. And then what would be your message for young people about the ocean?
So my message would be like, it feels like working with the ocean is like a big challenge. Like, you have to have some skills or something like this. But I think we have to step out of our comfort zone, learn about the ocean, because it's once again an ecosystem or a huge biome, which we have very less information about compared to terrestrial systems. Although about, a large portion of the earth is covered with this blue resource, right? So my message would be, yes, research more, get involved, and connect with other young people around the world who are working with oceans, because it's one of the most interesting ecosystems or biomes in the world. So yeah, and especially for girls and women, once again, the message would be like, it's important that we are also involved, get in research, although there are many obstacles, definitely, even I had to face. It's not very easy being a girl or a woman and engaged in research or work in this field. So yeah, get involved, get in touch, and get networking in this space.
Thank you. What a great message. And then last but not least, what could our listeners or audience at Jadi PNS globally can do in terms of collaboration to help you at School Meets The Reef?
So the one thing is, spread out the message. That's very important, and build a network with us, because we also want to learn from other people who are doing similar work around the world, because I think we are still working in silos, and that should be broken. That should be broken. We should be connected, and things should be shared. The knowledge should be shared. And this could be resources or teaching techniques, diverse way of restoring, coral reefs. So anything like this, stay connected and share. That's what I want from everyone. Yeah.
This is such a pleasure. Thank you so much, Samara, for your inspiring story.
No problem. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Samara, and thank you everyone for joining us. Let's collaborate to make this world into a better place. I'm Glo from Jadi PNS. Thank you and see you again. Ayubowan, Samara.
Ayubowan.